Hey guys, Soy Eva del Aire. Welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk to you about how to get the best travel deals. But before we get started, I just wanted to test out a couple of potential sponsorship ideas. So tell me what you think. Welch's Sparkling Rosé for Eva del Aire, it's the only way. Hey. I'm still tweaking things, but hey, Welch's, you know what to do. So I'm here to talk to you about the best travel deals. Now, when I'm planning a trip, there are two sites that I swear by. Like, if I was in a courtroom and they were like, do you swear to tell the travel truth, the whole travel truth, and nothing but the travel truth? I would put my hand on these two sites and I would say, I do. So the first one is Secret Flying. And I've actually seen a couple of their deals. I used a deal with them to Australia. And I think my trip to Egypt was through them as well. And the second site is travelpirates.com. And so both of these sites have a presence on social media. So they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on Twitter, and they also have websites where you can go and check and see what kind of deals are out there. So with Travel Pirates, I've seen a lot of package deals. If you're looking for something that includes a plan for your flight and your housing, Travel Pirates has a lot of great options to great destinations like Thailand, where I haven't been yet, but have a pin in it. And other places in Europe, Asia, the South Pacific. And Secret Flying posts a lot of airfares and also just kind of like really cheap airline flights. So whenever people ask me, where do you find your flight deals? Those are the first two sites that I send people to. Also recently, I started using a third site called The Huntsville Traveler. And they also have a presence on social media and a website, and they tailor their flight information for people who live in the southeastern United States. So if that's an area that interests you as your point of departure, definitely give them a try, check them out. So when you are going with these kinds of sites, you have to be quick on the draw. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is these sites, the deals that they post won't last for days. In fact, sometimes they won't last for hours. Every hour, every minute counts. So if you're gonna book a great travel deal, you have to know two pieces of information ahead of time. First, you have to know when you can travel. So for me, that's a pretty predictable variable because I'm a college professor. So I know that when my school is on break, I have a break and I can travel. So I usually fit my trips into spring break, summer vacation, Thanksgiving break, or winter vacation. And the second thing you have to know is how much you can spend, right? Because these deals only last minutes to hours, you don't have several weeks or months to plan and say, okay, I'm gonna save this amount of money for this trip. But what you could do ahead of time is start your own travel savings account. So I have a couple of friends that do this. You have a savings account that's just for travel, and you contribute money to that account every month, even though you haven't planned a trip yet. And that will allow you, when one of these great deals comes up, to go directly to your computer, type it in, to buy the deal, no grief, no regret, no remorse, because you know that you have that money available. So those two things you have to know: when you can go, how much you can spend. So today I got a great deal. Like, todavía estoy emocionada, estoy contenta. I'm super excited because I was traveling through my Twitter timeline and I happened upon one of the airfares posted by secretflying.com. So they posted a fare from JFK in New York City to Nairobi, Kenya, round trip for $242. You heard me right, folks. $242, less than $250 to go from North America to the continent of Africa, and I immediately jumped on the deal. So you may be wondering, hey, Eva del Aire, do you live in New York City? The answer to that question is no. But this deal was too amazing to pass up. So what I did, I looked at the dates that I have available, because remember I told you there's two things you need to know if you're gonna get great travel deals. You have to know when you can travel, you have to know how much you can spend. So I knew when I could travel. My next break is coming up, our Thanksgiving break, but I've already planned a trip to New York City. Shout out to all the New Yorkers. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Winter vacation, but I'm already heading to the Dominican Republic. So, que lo que mi gente, que yo voy para allá, prepárenme mi cuarto, ya saben que vamos a hacer coro y vamos a saltar de los 27 saltos. And then my next break is spring break. And so I was looking to see if the dates would line up with that, and they wouldn't. But in the clutch, Secret Flying posted the other dates when this trip would be available. And they had dates available after the semester ended, so at the beginning of my summer break. So I knew that I could go, and I had to try to get the price that I wanted. So I put in all of my information, I crossed my fingers to try to make sure that I could really get this flight, and it went through, but like I said, this was an error fare. And what that means, this is actually the first time that I've ever bought an error fare, but it means what it sounds like it means, right? There is some kind of a mistake on the part of the airline. They post a very cheap fare. Sometimes they honor these fares. The number that I've heard is from 10 to 20% of these kind of fares get canceled, but that means to me that 80 to 90% don't get canceled, and that you can continue to use them and really get an amazing price for a destination you really want to visit. So the advice that I've seen online, if you buy one of these super cheap error fares, is that you should wait about a week until everything's finalized. You get your passenger number, your ticket number, and don't start making other like housing arrangements and stuff like that until you have that ticket number in hand. But I have at least the confirmation that tells me that I have that trip booked to Nairobi, Kenya, which is a place that I've never been before, but I'm very excited. It would be my first time in East Africa. And so yeah, I'm just like over the moon, super excited, super giddy, and really just have my fingers crossed that the airline's not gonna cancel the fare. So now that I have the ticket, so you go to these two travel sites that I swear by, the new site that I'm beginning to swear by. You know when you can travel, you know how much you can pay, and then once you have the ticket, what's the next step? So if you've seen my travel fails video, you'll see that I learned from my mistakes, and my next step after buying the ticket is looking into the visa requirements. So I looked into the visa requirements for Kenya, and there is a visa requirement for US passport holders. So I looked in to see what it was. I found the website. I found out how much it costs. By the way, it's $50, just so you know. And so it says to apply, it takes 2 days, 2 business days generally to process, and they recommend that you apply 7 days before the trip begins. So you have your ticket, you know about the visa information, what's the next step? Usually I look to find a place to stay. So there's a lot of different lodging options when you're traveling, depending on what your budget is. So people that have a nice budget or who have kind of hotel reward points can usually stay at a nice hotel if you're traveling with a family, or if you've been planning and saving like I recommended in your travel account, that can be an option for you. And it's very easy to access a lot of these hotels online. Usually it's kind of regarded as a safer option, and you generally can't go wrong as long as you're looking at the right reviews. But generally when I'm traveling, I'm not on a hotel budget. So that brings me down, like this is the hotel budget and like this is my budget. So usually my options are either hostels or Airbnb. And no shade to the hostel travelers of the world, because I know that's how a lot of people get down, and I know that a lot of people love it. But I stayed in a hostel one time. I was in Bilbao in the Basque Country, and the hostel itself was fine, but I'm just not built for hostels. Like I get anxiety. When I have to sleep in a room with like 16 other people. And then the night that I happened to be there, somebody else in the room was snoring, and like it moved me from anxiety to like rage. And so I was just like, this is not my thing. If there's no other option, I would go with the hostel, but it's not my first go-to. My first go-to, I swear by, Airbnb. I know some people have mixed feelings because sometimes you're staying in a room in someone's house. There are people that you don't know, that could give people anxiety. So I definitely understand, but I swear by Airbnb. I haven't had a serious negative experience. Like the most negative thing that I've had happen was the last time I was in Lisbon, in the Airbnb where I was staying, there was a vermin problem. Like there were live and dead cucarachas. So yeah, that's the most negative experience, but generally I have really positive experiences and even amazing experiences. So I took a look on Airbnb to see for the dates that I was gonna travel, what kind of things would be available to get an idea of how much each night would cost. And then I started looking into what are the kinds of things that you can do while you're in Kenya. So I started to think, when I'm traveling, aside from, having fun, taking great pictures, I also think about what it means to be a responsible traveler, right? To be a global citizen in the sense of taking into account what is the culture of the place where you're going? What is the language that they speak? What are the norms? Who are the people? What is their history? What is their story? Because I think as travelers, sometimes we can fall into the trap of just going somewhere and using the people and the place and the culture as backdrops to our experience, right? And kind of relegating them to a secondary position. And when I travel, I try, although you guys know, if you've seen my Instagram account, I am constantly taking pictures and selfies and looking for ideal photo backdrops. But when you think about your travel experience, I would encourage my fellow travelers to really dig in and see how to get to know the place where they're going, how to leave a positive impact where they're going, and not just kind of continue to take away your own pictures and your own kind of agenda from the place where you're going. So my trip is planned for the summer, which means I have 6 to 7 months to really do research. When I think about Kenya, one of the first things that caught my attention was the elephant sanctuary. I am super excited to see African elephants. I have seen Sumatran elephants when I was in Indonesia. And I believe, so when I was younger, we lived in Northern California. This is parenthetical, I'm gonna come back to my point. Parenthetical, we used to live in Northern California, and there was an amusement park called Marine World Africa USA. Like, I don't know, it had multiple personalities. Marine World was kind of like a SeaWorld type of attraction where they had marine animals. Africa, so they had like elephants that you could ride. And the USA part, like I think it was just because we were in the USA, like I have questions. Like if anybody can explain the concept of that park to me, I would appreciate it because, looking back on my childhood, I'm just like, what is this? What is this place? So my point is, I may have seen an African elephant at Marine World Africa USA, but that was now many moons ago. So I'm looking forward to that experience. I want to see giraffes, but I also know that Nairobi is a gigantic city. And so I want to know what kind of other experiences are available while I'm there. So if you've been to Kenya, if you've been to Nairobi, if you have some recommendations, please let me know. I would be very grateful. I'm starting on my fact-finding, data collecting mission now, and I look forward to sharing that experience with you all once I have my pictures, and I'll write about it on my blog as well. So I'm looking forward to the next adventure. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Let's keep it going. All right, everybody, take care. A volar.